Okay, so today I'm going to attempt to put an LED in one of these birdies over here. And the reason why I want to do that is I want to play these at night, and I tried buying a set of these with LEDs in them, but you couldn't even finish a game before the switch inside just quit working. Something about it getting knocked around just didn't work too well. So what I'm going to try to do is see if I can probably what I'm gonna do is remove the actual ball part and probably 3D print a new ball, but make it hollow and make it where I can stick a little lithium ion cell. Probably won't stick the actual charger in here, but make it where I can plug the charger into the birdie to charge it, and then stick a small LED in there, and hopefully the LED will last a long time. And what I'm hoping is this cell might have a chip on it. I think it does. That protects it from over discharge. So what I could do is just have it where there's no switch, and once this thing gets charged, it just runs until the LED goes out, and then you charge it every time you want to use it. Which, less moving parts on something that's going to get smacked around is better. So first thing I'm going to do is see if this cell is even good. I probably bought this thing about 5 years ago and haven't charged it since. So I'm going to just quickly put it on this charger, charge it, and see what happens. So I'm just going to fast forward that. Alright, so now I'm going to plug this sucker in and just see, does it charge? Well, I'm going to leave that be and be back when something interesting happens. Alright, so it's been charging for about 10 minutes, and I actually had to do a little bit of trickery here. Now, this, let me see if I can zoom in. Alright, so this lithium ion battery, like many, has a little control circuit right here. And what that does is it keeps you from overcharging, over discharging, if you exceed the maximum current output this thing can safely put out, it'll just cut it off. And what was happening is this thing would try to charge, this chip would try to charge this battery, and he'd go through this chip, and this chip would say, hey, I'm going to cut you off because this battery is fully discharged. Now, it's not very safe to do this, but what I did to get around that is I just bypassed this chip by moving this negative lead over to the direct negative lead to the battery, charged it for about a minute, and then put it back. And when I did the initial charge, it let full current go to this battery, and it got pretty warm. And that's not very good, but it might have saved this battery. I'll find out in a minute. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wire up a green LED and a resistor up to this battery and disconnect it from the charger and see how long it lasts. I'd like it to last about a half an hour to an hour, but if it doesn't make that requirement, I'm going to have to use something like that, and I'd really rather not, because this is a bit bigger than this, and if I can get away with that, I'd be a lot happier. So anywho, I'm going to hurry up and solder some stuff on, and we'll see how this goes. Probably fast forward this as well. Alright, well, I'm just going to let that thing run, and we'll see if it lasts. Okay, well, I read the voltage drop on this thing. It's been about 20 minutes. And, oh man, if my hands could work a little better. Yeah, barely any voltage drop, which is what I thought. So this cell is good, and which is great because I can fit this cell in this no problem. I don't think I'm going to 3D print something. I think I'm just going to try hollowing this thing out and putting a little hot melt to keep everything in. Because, anyway, this looks pretty nice. Because this thing is going to last so long, I have a feeling it's probably going to last about 10 hours on one little charge. Maybe 5 hours. I did the calculation in my head real quick based on the voltage drop. But anyway, so I'm going to put this little switch in, and hopefully everything can fit in this little profile in here. So basically I'm gonna melt a little notch in here, enough for an LED and the switch, and glue it all up. So you just stick your finger in there, turn it on and off, and I also need to find a good way to charge it. So I'm gonna hollow a little thing out in there also and try to fit everything I can. If I can't fit everything, then I'm just gonna have to 3D print something. But hopefully everything can fit in this small profile here. So we'll see how it goes. I'm probably going to fast forward this whole process because no one wants to watch me do all of that. Oh man, okay. So that was a challenge. All that's in here is a little female header. And what I like to do on these is I like to, when I'm supplying power to something and that's it, I like to do it in threes. And the reason I like to do that is so you only have three, and you'll do something like tag ground to the outside or positive to the outside, and then the other terminal's on the inside, so no matter which way you plug in the plug, it's going to be correct, because you got to make these things idiot proof. You know somebody's going to do something that shouldn't be done, and you should always prepare for that. And then I just have directly wired in to the battery the switch, a resistor, and the diode, and then I have the power terminal going across the battery as well. And I'm just going to use this connector onto this board and then wire it up accordingly. And then I'm probably going to print an enclosure or put a piece of shrink tubing around the charger bit. That way you just plug this thing into a USB port, plug this into there, and you're good to go. So anywho, the last thing I need to do is put some hot glue in this end to make sure everything stays put during operation, because this thing's going to be beaten up quite a bit. And hopefully everything goes in correctly. So probably fast forward that bit as well. Okay, now it's the wonderful part of trying to wait for things to cool. It seems like it's fitting pretty well. It's definitely lightweight. I mean, that part works. Let's see if the charge port works correctly. Hopefully, if I just plug this thing in. Bingo. So everything works. The only thing that might happen is these two pieces might pop off, but I think if that happens, I'm just going to run a bead of glue along the outside here and shove it back on, and that should be good. My main concern was getting enough glue in the back there to make, let's make sure that's okay, get enough glue in the back there to make it that just, did it charge? Did it not charge? I'm not sure. You know, it might be on the edge of being charged. Anywho, so hopefully this works nice and well. I guarantee this thing's going to work better than the piece of junk that I ordered on Amazon. So I'm going to try it out tomorrow, and hopefully it survives the beating.